Welcome to Life Change Solutions, a podcast for hope, health, and happiness as we go through life changes. Today, I want to talk about the decisions that we make that change our lives. 38 years ago, I made such a decision. I decided that I was going to go on a mission for my church, a full-time mission of 18 months. I left my schooling. I was at college at the time, and decided to go serve other people. And I was asked to serve in Peru. And while I was there, it changed my life so that I viewed life differently. My life was better. I was happy as I served other people. But also, the lives of the people that I served changed. And those times in our lives where we experience change that not only change our lives for the better, but change other lives for the better, sometimes are few and far between. Today, I have two young women here who are now currently serving missions for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I have with me Makenna Ferrell and Ellie, Merrell. They've decided that they also want to serve a mission. And I want to hear a little bit about their stories, how they made that decision, a little bit about themselves, and then we'll go into some other things that they're doing that are fantastic and unbelievable and changing people's lives. So let's start with Makenna.
Awesome. I'm Makenna Ferrell. I am currently a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as Kendra said. Just a little bit about me. I come from a family of 6. I have 3 siblings, and I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. And so now I'm here in Florida, which is across the United States, which is super fun, and very different. And it is changing me as well. Before I decided to serve a mission, I was going to college at BYU in Utah, and I was studying psychology. And I loved psychology because how people think and act and why people do what they do. And kind of similar to a mission, people are changing same ways. And as I was at college, I knew that I wanted to have a little more meaning in my life. I wanted to help other people, and in turn, like you said, Kendra, it helps yourself as well. And I grew up in a home that was God-centered. It had the gospel. And my family was not picture perfect. I have 2 brothers that have physical disabilities. And the gospel played a really big role in our lives, giving us hope and, optimism through the trials that we were experiencing. It was really difficult. But it wasn't a crutch. It was real, and it was powerful, and it was changing my family. And so I wanted to share that with others. And so I decided to stop my schooling, put it on hold for 18 months, and submit my application to serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ.
I love the several things that you said. One is that it gives you hope. And my podcast is about hope and what things do give us hope. And even when we have trials, and that's such a hard trial to have 2 brothers with disabilities and the toll that it brings, but to have hope through it all and how you did that. But then to say, you know what, I found that hope in my life. I'm going to share that with others, right, and see how their lives change too. So that's awesome. Thank you so much, Makenna, for sharing a little bit about your story. And now let's hear about Ellie.
Yeah, so mine is very similar. I love the idea and message of hope, That's exactly why I, too, decided to serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I grew up, I have 3 siblings that are older than me and 2 younger. And my 3 oldest siblings, they actually all served missions. And throughout my life, I was like, that's a cool idea. Like, that sounds fun, but I don't know if that's for me.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't positive if I'd serve a mission or not, but I did know that I loved serving people. I loved learning about their stories, who people are, what got them to where they're at today. And so I decided to serve, instead of a church mission, I ended up going on a humanitarian trip before. And so I actually ended up going to the Dominican Republic for about 4 months. And there I taught English to little kids, little kids who didn't really have a good background. They didn't have big homes. They didn't have any schooling. They honestly just lived in little shacks. And at this point, this was me right after high school. And so I was nervous to just leave my family and just go out to a third world country, And as I got out and I saw the world with different eyes, I grew up in Utah with some money. And so I was used to going to school, but then just seeing these kids out there who didn't have very much, it opened my heart. And I realized that if these kids just realized or knew that they had a God, somebody who loves and cares about them, then I would want them to know that. And so as I was doing this humanitarian trip, I couldn't really talk about religion or anything like that, but it was something that I wanted to mention throughout my life. And so after this humanitarian trip, I decided while I was out there, I wanted to serve a mission for the church. I wanted to talk about something that has changed my life throughout high school. And I wanted these kids to know about that too. And so I submitted mission papers to sign up to go on a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I opened my call out in the Dominican and found out that I was going to go to Florida. And here I am today. And it has completely changed my life. It reminds me of the hope and the peace and joy that I have that so many other people in the world have never experienced yet. And so it's been a privilege to be able to talk about that with people.
I have to tell you, Ellie, as you were talking, it reminded me of my mission, and tears started to come up in my eyes because I have to tell you how much I learned being in a third world country. Things no longer mattered to me. The labels of clothes or cars or anything like that. You see people in the most humble form, and they're so loving and accepting and open, and it is just a beautiful thing then to recognize things are not just about stuff or about the world. It's about people. It's about lives. It's about happiness and how to bring that happiness together. So I came back a changed person. No longer the things that mattered to me before, they didn't matter. What mattered to me was, how do I be happy and how do I help others be happy? So that's why I started this podcast. That's why I wrote my book. It's called Hope, Life Changes, A Guide for Hope, Health, and Happiness. And y'all have really just said what it is and have that desire to also serve. And that is why I went back to get my master's degree in social work. I wanted to know how I could best help people and why they did the things they do, how they think, kind of like you did with your psychology major, and then how I can understand them better to be able to help them better. And as you're actually out there with the people, you feel that, right? You're like, you're like, oh, wow. And you have that empathy where before, and you're so young. Can you tell our listeners how old you are?
I'm 20.
Me too. 20.
So 20 years old, out in the world and learning, having such life experiences that will change your life for the rest of your lives and change those people that you're with. Now, one of the reasons that I wanted to have you on here is to talk about the changes in your own life, but also perhaps changes that you've seen in others as you've worked with them. Because I know I saw that a lot in Peru. People had no hope. And to, like you said, have a hope that perhaps there is a higher power. Perhaps there is a God out there who loves me, who is my Father, and who is watching over me. That in itself whether you believe it or not, that in itself, to even think that maybe there's someone out there who is on my side, who's on my team, who's backing me up, gives you hope. And then to have the support of the missionaries and of church and of that fellowship of that community. So how have you seen maybe that happen with the people you're working with here?
So many ways, so many ways. You can't really talk about something and share something unless you don't have a personal experience with it. And so that's kind of how it's been for me, as I have studied the gospel more and come closer to Jesus Christ and to God, to know that he is my Father, like you said. I've been able to have personal experiences with that I've then been able to share with others. And before my mission, I was so nervous to go. I was just 19, scared little girl to leave my family. And as I relied on prayer and on God, I saw my faith grow. I saw myself become courageous and brave to go out and do a new thing. And then being able to share that with others too. Like if you can pray, if you can come to know that there's a God that loves you, you can see yourself grow. And I saw these weaknesses that I had or struggles start to become strengths, and that I was growing and blossoming into the person that I knew the most powerful being in the universe knew I could be. He molded me and is still molding me. And sharing that with others has just brought me the greatest joy that I've ever known in my life. The greatest joy. I could go on for a long time, but...
Well, one thing I think would be interesting for our listeners to know is that y'all are out for 18 months and you don't get to see your parents, right? Not even for holidays, not for Christmas, which is coming up. You are gone from them for that whole 18 months. Now, you do get to talk with them once a week or so, so that and I think that's very helpful. When I was out on my mission, we didn't get to talk to our parents at all. It was the 18 months we could call for Christmas and for Mother's Day, and that was it. So that's kind of a nice thing. But still, being away from your families, especially on the holidays, that's kind of rough. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how what you're doing makes it easier for you.
Right.
So, but Ellie, tell us a little bit about your experience as a missionary.
Yeah, I think it is rough that we don't get to be there in person with our families. We do get to call them every week, and it's amazing to see their face over FaceTime or call, which is super nice, but it can be really difficult. But the only reason I've been able to overcome that difficulty of not seeing my family every day or seeing them for a whole 18 months is truly because of the hope I have received from God. Having this knowledge that there is a higher power and God can provide for all of our needs. Even if we're going through something really difficult in life, let's say we don't get to see our family for 4 or 5 years, I know that I would be okay because he gives us that sense of belonging and hope that if I'm struggling, I know I can get down on my knees and I can pray to God and he'll lift me up. And he honestly is the only person I truly need with me. And with him, I can get through that. And so that's been a huge comfort for me being out here, is just knowing that I can turn and rely on a higher power to get through anything.
I love that. I love that, being away from your families also creates somewhat of an independence to know you can do things on your own, and that you can, that there's that hope that there's someone there that's going to be there for you. And that is your faith in a higher power, in God. So that is a wonderful thing to share. And it's a wonderful thing to share to those people that you're working with, because some of them don't have hope. And today, in a world where there's so much anger and angst and hate, you're spreading light, positivity, and love. And what a refreshing breath of fresh air for the world. In fact, in this Christmas season, y'all are sharing something called Light the World. I know that the church has this program called Light the World. And in this time where, like I said, there's so much negative energy, you too are a light to the world. And all of those missionaries out there are a light to the world. You can bring in that positive energy to those people that you visit, those people that you're working with. But tell us a little bit more, tell our listeners a little bit more about Light the World, because this is the Christmas season. This podcast will be out during the holidays. And I'd love for people to be able to participate in this program. I remember I first heard of it. I was in Arizona. My parents are in Arizona. And they said, oh, you have to come to the Light the World giving machine. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know what that is, but okay, we'll go over. And it was a big deal. And you could go and choose something and you would pay to maybe give someone a dinner or several dinners or several other things. And maybe you know some of the other things. I think I saw that even like they would give hearing tests or just a myriad of different things. And you got to choose what thing you wanted to. I remember there was chickens. You could give some people some chickens. So it was so many different things, which made it a little more personal because you could actually pay for that particular gift and then give it. But there's so much more to Light the World. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about that, what you're doing this holiday season with Light the World? And I think that your particular congregation is doing a blood drive. Unfortunately, it will be before this podcast posts, but that's such a cool thing to do during this time. So you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is a worldwide church. And so their Light the World campaign for the holidays is worldwide. Anywhere a person is in the world, they can participate. And the whole premise of Light the World is that each person has a light to shine. Every single person has a light within them. No matter how dim someone thinks their light is or how busy they are, everyone has a light to shine and they can shine it. And the Light the World campaign gives some specific practical ideas that people can do each day of this Christmas season to share their light. And in the past, they've had a calendar, something specific for each day, but this year it's a little more personal. You can truly choose what you want to do each day to light the world. And they've given us 50 different ideas of ways that we can share our light.
Okay, and so these ideas, I see you're looking at your phone. These ideas you can find on the phone at lighttheworld.org, lighttheworld.org. And so they give you ideas of things you can do each day that help others, but also help lift your spirit, because we can get wrapped up in the holiday season where it's all about presents. It's all about rushing around. I know I'm like, oh, I've got to get my decorations down. I just got home from Thanksgiving and I don't have my Christmas decorations down. Where thinking maybe in a different level where what can I do to shine my light for others? So what are some of those suggestions?
Yeah, so here's a list of 50 of them. Just the first 5. Number 1 is laugh with a friend. Call someone you miss. Carry an extra snack for someone who may be in need. Or send a homemade Christmas card to a friend. Plan some one-on-one time with a loved one. So all of these, they're just simple little things that you can do every single day. And so, yeah, these are 50 ideas that you can access online, and you can pick a few and do it within the month of December so that you can just spread the Christmas light and the joy during the Christmas season.
They're up, so you can do it all year round if you want.
Yeah,
right?
mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
But at least we're trying to focus this Christmas season, this holiday season, on spreading light and joy and happiness. One of the things I really would like to do in my podcast is lift spirits and lighten loads, because a lot of people have some heavy loads they're bearing. And if we can just lighten their load a little bit and lift their spirits, and I know you do that in your work as you are out here and you work hard. If you could tell our listeners what a day in the life of a Mormon missionary or a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints looks like. Because it's not just all fun and games. You're getting up early in the morning, you're studying, and then can one of you tell us a little bit about a day in the life of a missionary?
Yeah, so every day we get up at 6:30. So our alarm goes off at 6:30 and we get up and we take care of our bodies. We go to the gym, we'll go for a run, something to just wake us up.
Okay, so what'd you guys do this morning?
This morning we went for a run.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about Florida is you can go for a run any day.
I know, it's so nice.
I was just up in Virginia. It was so cold. Like, I can't wait to get back to Florida. So we'll work out and then we'll come home, we'll eat breakfast, and then we'll kneel down and we'll start planning our day. So we'll plan like what we have, like how many lessons we're teaching to people, what we have in store for the rest of the day, and then we'll do our personal study. So this is a time where we just take time to ourselves and we'll study the scriptures, we'll pray, and we'll learn more about God. I love this. This is so awesome because this is life skills. These are things that you'll have for the rest of your life. These are things that I teach people in counseling. Okay, get up first thing in the morning, get outside, get some vitamin D, get that sun, circadian rhythm, is really important and it'll help you sleep better. And then do some reflective time, some pondering, some meditation, which is what the scripture study, if you're praying or reading your scriptures, that's really a form of meditation.
Yeah.
And so whether you're doing that or doing some other form of meditation, I do both, but I like to do some Qigong in the morning. And it really helps me to just reflect more on my inner self. And then I'm able to help other people more. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So then after that, what do you do? Go ahead, Makenna.
So after we fill our own cup for the day, then we, like Ellie said, we look at the lessons we have for the day and we think of the needs of our friends and how we truly can serve in the best.
So you give these lessons to people that you meet, and how do you meet these people? And
oftentimes people will put in requests to meet with us. If they're looking for more hope in their life, they can request to meet with missionaries. And
you find those online, or how do you find those?
People can request it at comeintochrist.org, and then they just get sent to missionaries like us.
Okay.
And we can go give people a visit. And
missionary work has changed so much since I was knocking on doors. How neat that then you don't have to be knocking on doors and be rejected a lot.
Right.
But that they're requesting you to come visit, and that makes it a lot easier for you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We don't want to be a bother to people. We want to serve people that are truly looking for hope and peace. And so, we go visit people that put requests to meet with us. And we also do service during the day. And so just, if people need help moving, we'll go help someone move.
I need help decorating if you want to come
do that too.
Definitely. And we also meet with the members of our congregation as well to uplift their spirits. And it's so rewarding. Like you said, it's not focused on us. It's not all fun and games. We truly are using every minute of our day. We plan it out minute by minute, and we just use it serving others or to serve others.
That is, it's helped me in my life to do that same thing, to continue to do that same thing. And I know you have planners, and I've been trying to find planners. Actually, I think I'm going to make my own because I don't like any of the planners that I've used. It'll be called Life Change Solutions Planner. It's going to come out there, ladies, everybody, but it'll come out there, I hope. But I think that's important. And I know that you have a time, so you get up at a certain time and you have to go to bed at a certain time. What times are those?
We wake up at 6:30 in the morning and we go to bed by 10:30 at night.
Oh, and you know what? On my sleep podcast, that's the perfect times that you're supposed to wake up and go to sleep.
Look at that.
Yeah, this is so good to see. You never knew that the life changes you're going to be experiencing are actually really good for your health too. It will help you sleep better. It'll help your bodies heal better. So awesome. Little tout for my podcast on sleep. So now, are there some experiences that you've had while you were out here that are something you'd like to share with our listeners today? Perhaps you saw someone's life change, or you worked with someone that really had no hope and then it changed. I know that happened with me in my mission quite a bit, because those people were very humble and had lost all hope pretty much. Obviously, my mission was very different. I was serving walking mission, no car, and in places where people had dirt floors and boxes for homes. So here's a little different. It might be harder to kind of get in the door and see those changes, but we did see the lives of those people change and a light in their eyes once they had that hope. Have you had any experiences like that?
Oh my goodness, so many. That's why I'm still out here, is for those experiences. Truly, it's really cool because, well, I'll just share one experience that we had a few weeks ago. There was a day where someone had requested online to learn more. And so we had their address and their phone number. And so we called them and they didn't answer. And we're like, you know what? Let's just go show up and see if they remember filling out this request. And so we went to their house and nobody was home. And so we kind of were like, okay, like God must have another plan for us, somebody else that we should go and meet. And so we're walking around this neighborhood and it's starting to get dark, and so Christmas lights start coming up. Oh. And we saw this one specific house that just had beautiful white Christmas lights on their porch. And we're like, you know what, let's just go compliment them on their Christmas lights, because we love Christmas time and it's absolutely beautiful. So we went up and we knocked on their door. And this sweet lady, she came out and we're like, hey, like, we know you've never met us, but we just saw your Christmas lights and we wanted to say they are beautiful. Like, we love them and Merry Christmas type of thing. And it's like just starting to be Christmas. So it's like Christmas spirit is starting to come in. And it was really cool because she just broke down in tears. And she said, I needed that today. I was having a really hard day and I go in tomorrow for a surgery. She has cancer. And that little experience of us just complimenting on her Christmas lights changed her. She was just in tears saying, thank you so much. Like, I know that because of you, everything's going to be okay tomorrow. And I left that feeling super happy. We got her number and she wants us to come back. So we're going to see how the surgery went and things like that. But it was really cool because as a missionary, you experience that every day. You know, it's just little things like complimenting somebody on their Christmas lights or just talking about something simple that just changes your life and the person's life. And you just experience that all the time, every single day. It's really, really cool.
That is so, I love that story. I love it because it is lighting the world. Just a little bit. All you had to do was a compliment. And so much of today, people are criticizing everybody. And just to give a compliment, say, I loved your Christmas lights. They're beautiful. And you had no idea she needed that. She just needed that hope. Because the next day she was going into surgery.
And there's Christmas lights everywhere. Like, it literally is like the perfect time, perfect season. And everyone is just so happy and joyful. Like, something's really special about Christmas time. Yeah. Especially as a missionary out here, you get to experience that.
And I don't care whether you're Christian or not. Seems to be a little bit more kindness, a little bit more love, and a little bit more light shared, just like you did. How about you, Anna? Any experiences you've had?
Again, so many, but one that was really impactful for me to see, one that comes to mind is a girl that we started visiting. She invited us over and she just saw something different about us. We don't really see it. I think we're pretty normal, but she saw something different about us and she wanted to invite us back. And we started teaching her about God. and that somebody cared about her. She had a really, really hard life growing up. Really difficult family situation, financial situation, everything you could think of.
Yeah.
And you could just see her eyes start to light up as things clicked for her. Now she knew she was cared about and loved. And as we studied the scriptures with her and as we prayed with her, everything changed. Her countenance was completely different. She just looked happier. She carried herself taller. And she has a family as well that she was then able to shine her light in her family, and they all came together closer because of it. And that was just a privilege to see that it's not unique to any certain group of people, that anyone can have these life changes. They can be happier and just more peace too. She said that was a big thing for her, which is very anxious before.
Yeah.
So anxious all the time. And she said she just felt calm and like she could just have her burdens lifted to God. She felt freer is how she described it.
That's a perfect way to end our show today, because it's exactly what I want this podcast to be, is to show that people's lives can change, and through hope and health and happiness. And I want to thank both of you for taking a little bit of time, because I know you don't have much time to spend. I want to thank you for taking the time to be on the podcast. You've inspired me, and I feel this light in me to just want to go out now and do more, and to just say those kind things, even in the grocery store, or just notice, and who knows what changes it can bring about.
Absolutely.
It may change someone's life, like yours is being changed for the better. And like the woman that you saw and this girl, it may change their whole life and their whole perspective on having no hope to having hope and peace and less anxiety. So thank you for sharing with us. Again, you can find any of these suggestions and participate in lighttheworld.org. Look it up, and I will put it in my podcast notes to look up lighttheworld.org and participate with us this holiday season to be a little more aware and loving and kind and share your light. Thank you again. This has been an episode of Life Change Solutions, podcast for hope, health, and happiness. You can find me on mylifechangesolutions.com. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, and this will be on YouTube. So I will have it posted again in the notes, so be sure to look at the notes if you're listening. And thank you for listening. I love all of the comments that you've shared with me. Please leave a 5-star review if you like this episode, and leave a comment or a question, and I will try to answer it. Thank you again for joining us on Life Change Solutions.